Welcome back to the Friday edition of Life is About More Than Living. First time I've done this show for a while on Friday. I'm going to bring on to the show Arias Websterberry. The topic is adversity versus adversity to advantage when done is better than perfect. And we've had some internet glitches, so please bear with us. The service is going out both our ends. Uh, Currently, he's off camera, so basically the topic. We'll be covering some keynote topics throughout this as he gets his service back up. Because again, I said we tested it and between Verizon and Spectrum here and as well as in Texas where he's streaming from. There's been some hiccups this morning. Uh,
Yeah, let me jump out and jump in a second.
okay. Um, so he just alerted me in my earpiece. So he's gonna jump right back in shortly. Um, this current climate we're in, there's so many challenges facing all of us. And there are a lot of gurus and gurus out here on social media elsewhere trying to help us to navigate these challenges. And I believe Arias is back now, so I'm bringing it on. It's just
There
welcome
we
to
go.
the show, Arias. You just saved me from a great long improv. And let's like I said before, off camera, just do your thing. Is and you also got me wearing my slogan T-shirt today. No matter what happens, I win because I'm in that
Indeed,
headspace right
man.
now. So your time,
You
sir.
know, I can't see it. What does it say?
No matter what happens, I win is my slogan.
There you go. Absolutely.
It, I coined it when I was between jobs, and I just throw it out there real. I guess it went down to 60 seconds or less. Um, I was in, I had applied for my old job back at the time while working for the city of High Point, and my supervisor got wind of it because local government people they know everybody up and down the state of North Carolina, the connection. So he called me in the office one day. It was an office one day talking to me. He said, "Well, I heard you applied to get your old job back with the city of Greensboro." And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, y'all not gonna pay me enough to stay. And he was like, well, you don't know what can happen. I'm like, yes, I do. No matter what happens, I win. If I don't get accepted back over there, I got a job here. If I get accepted back over there, I got a job there. It's a no lose situation for me because I will still be employed by somebody, one, either you or them. So that's been my slogan since that day.
It's a great slogan, man.
Thank you.
It's more of a philosophy. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's turning into such. But anyway, this is not about me today. This is about you and what you have to share with my people. It will be uploaded, downloaded in audio format once it's over. We're streaming live now to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, which is definitely on point.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you taking the time. My name is Arias Websterberry. I'm an entrepreneur, author, speaker, trainer. I am a digital marketer. Above all, I'm a Texan, proud Texan
yeah, we were
here.
in Texas about 2 weeks ago for the National Black Authors Book Festival. First time ever attending that thing in Houston. Yeah,
How was it?
it wasn't what it was great for the connections I made. I got
Okay.
about 5 people coming on this show because of that festival.
Well, it sounds like
They
it
made
was
some
it
great
was successful.
friendships. But as far as selling books, it wasn't about that part. That was
Gotcha.
kind of a misleading part. But my wife and I, and she knows if I get in the right space, I always find a win. And my win was meeting all these great, amazing Black authors. And again, I've literally got about 5 booked into 2026. She's even got some people booked for her show.
Okay. Oh,
So
awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
But this is back to you though, because I can talk about me all day. I did that last night when I did an episode impromptu.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I run a couple companies, Websterberry Marketing, which is a full service digital marketing agency. We execute very intricate marketing campaigns for you know solopreneurs and mom and pop stores, all the way up to enterprise level $100 million companies.
Mm. Good to
Uh,
know. Good to know.
and then we also have a tech company called Ignite Funnels, which is a all-in-one business management and marketing software that we use in our business, and over 90% of our 400 clients use as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the business side of it. Now let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. Well, like I said, I gave some bullet points up there that you mentioned in your bio where I connected with on the site I connected you with, and with all the nuts and bolts and the business side of it, you mentioned that adversity can be transformed as a way to get an advantage. You also mentioned something that I believe in, but I often practice, taking my challenge and turning it into an opportunity. As I said to you off camera this week, I lost my secondary stream of income. So now I'm faced with a challenge to change it. But I've reinvested and reinvented myself here by being more proactive on the podcast platform. And some people don't always like that word, but digital streaming platform, for those that like it better, say it that way. But to get to what you're talking about, the financial end of it, how do people take that? You just talk about it a little bit, how you've done it, how you went from taking that adversity and you transformed it. And I see the end product, your companies, but how did you
Yeah.
get there?
Yeah. You know, I will say that I came into this world and it seemed like it was designed to test me. Um,
Mm,
from a very young age, my mother and my father, they met in high school.
mm,
Um, they went to prom together and all these different things. And shortly after my birth, my father was affected by what we now call the opioid epidemic. Back then,
mm-hmm,
they called
mm-hmm.
it they called it something else.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, back then it was, yeah.
yeah, and this was back in the 80s and 90s. So I grew up in a single parent household. My mom did everything she could to raise me. Right, she worked two full-time jobs for many years to make sure that we had
Mm,
enough. My father struggled with addiction. He was a really smart, good-looking, charismatic guy, but he made some choices that put him in some ways. When I was 14, ended up losing my father. Uh,
mm,
he was, yeah, like I said, he battled with addiction. He was in and out of jail, but he was pulled over by police on the side of the freeway, and that is where he lost his life. He was killed by police officers.
mm,
Uh,
mm,
so that was tough. My formative years. I'm a freshman in high school. Trying to make this transition from middle school into high school. We all remember that awkward phase of life.
mm.
And
Yep.
the person who's supposed to usher me into manhood is no longer with us. That had an impact on me. I was an athlete. I was pretty smart, but I lost my motivation for school, for sports. Um, and somehow I made it out of high school. I carried that his loss with me all through high school. I get into college, and my freshman year of college, my mom has a very serious domestic violence issue. It
Mm,
ends up going to court. Even though she was defending herself, the judge ruled that she took it too far, and she ends up in jail
mm,
for some years. So again, another transitional period, a critical transitional period in my life. I then lose the other parent to the justice system. So I ended up dropping out of college because I had to figure out how to feed myself. I needed to find a place to live. I needed a job. And I basically had to grow up very, very quickly. And, staying in lectures, learning about Shakespeare and trigonometry didn't seem that important when I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to lay my head and how I'm going to eat. Um, so in doing that, it derailed me. It forged me. Right, I was forged in flames, and I was out in the world trying
mm,
to figure out things on my own. I was out in California where we don't have a lot of family, and eventually I found my way to the entertainment industry, and because it was one of those places, something that I was good at, which was meeting people and bringing them together.
Mhm.
Um, so I turned, the few skills that I did have, or the few abilities that I did have, and I turned them to my advantage and became very successful in it. I started with very small parties at local nightclubs in San Diego and LA, and then eventually I was able to roll that into, or parlay that into, large scale concerts and festivals in Los
Mm.
Angeles. Um, so I mean that's kind of how I got my start in entrepreneurship, right? I just failed my way through it.
Mm. Some have called it you fail forward.
Hmm.
You fail forward. Uh, at least I think in my case, uh, and again, this is really unedited. We unedited it just raw. Uh, wasn't a. This is really my third marriage. Second one should have been an annulment. Uh, First one was a good marriage. Got two adult sons, 39, 34 years old, one family man, one business person, entrepreneur. Uh, but around the age of 45, when the oldest was in college and the youngest one was working his way through high school, this thing came over me that this is not me. Uh,
Hmm.
I allowed myself to be part of a religious culture, and I allowed myself to line myself up with those things because
Hmm.
they actually was my safeguard out of high school. Um, and so I got in, followed what was said, teachings, got married, had sons, loved my sons, loved by their mom at the time, as I understood love to be. Stayed there, and my wife can probably catch this, and she can catch a lot of stuff that we've been talking about. But that's fine. I'm telling my story now in relation to other people who have similar stories, so we can reach more people. And long story short, age 44, 45, I had a realization that I didn't know who the heck I was and what was happening. Unlike your story, though, I did have a mother who did not go down that path, was a single mom who did as much as she could in the environment we were in, I would say, uh, to get and guide and provide some male role models for me as I came along. So I was able to tap back into some of that.
Hmm.
But when you talked about finding us out there, I found myself out there in my 40s.
Hmm.
I found myself out there in my 40s. I found myself making good, decent money for where we live at, but no
Hmm.
money management skills. Because at least in the marriage, there was someone to kind of watch the small dollars. But I found
Hmm.
myself out there with big dreams and big visions and a gift for writing and talking to people and all of this,
Hmm.
but not knowing how to parlay it outside of Google blogging and right WordPress blogging. I found myself out there and not knowing, and knowing that I had to do what you just said. And I think that's why, as men of color, black men, which is the hot button for me right now, to connect with more people who look like me, is that a lot of us came from environments that didn't give us life skills. And we learned along the way, and we made a lot of bad choices and still do. But we have been able to take that adversity and turn it around. I heard what you said, my brother. Now, I'm gonna use that probably a lot now. If it offends you, please let me know. Some get offensive now, but that ain't. Um, I'm glad you were able to make it out and do what you're doing. Because if you didn't do what you were doing, we would not be having this conversation. The world would not be getting your story on a platform where majority of my listeners do not look like me and you.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, one of my prayers every day is I give thanks for the problems I have, and I give thanks for the problems I don't have.
mhm,
And maybe your listeners are can't fathom the things that I've been through.
mhm,
In losing parents and being homeless, filing for bankruptcy,
mhm,
um, you know, moving all over the country. Before I was
mm.
18, we had lived in 12 different homes. Uh,
Wow.
but it reminds you that it gives you context that maybe the thing that you believe is the end of the world, the thing that you believe is insurmountable, is not maybe as bad as you think it is. There's someone
Mhm.
standing next to you that has it way worse, right? When I was
Mhm.
homeless, I didn't have the luxury of waiting for things to be perfect. I had to move
Mm.
imperfectly but intentionally, and that same mindset is carried through every business that I've built. I see a
Mm.
lot of entrepreneurs stuck at the starting line because they're afraid that the first version won't be flawless. you know but perfection many times is paralysis, masking as perfection. And what I've learned is adversity trains you to adapt. you know every setback teaches you speed, simplicity, self-trust. And I've learned that clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from it. And that's how you turn adversity into advantage.
Mm. So perfectionistic thinking people like myself,
Hmm.
thank God I'm further along than I used to be. To
Okay.
some who know me may not think so, because I still like A, B, C, D in this order.
Hmm.
And it sends me in a deep tangent when it's not.
Hmm.
Uh, you mentioned embracing the imperfections
Hmm.
in your context. Let's go there.
Yeah, I mean, my philosophy is progress compounds and perfection kills momentum.
Okay.
I apply.
Imperfection kills momentum. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Progress compounds and perfection kills momentum. I apply the 80-20 principle of peace. If I can get it 80% right, then I put it out, and then I learn the rest while I'm in motion. I do this in all areas, even when I'm hiring. When I'm hiring somebody for the role, I realize that they may be the top of their field, they may not. But in my company, we do things a certain way. So I need you to be at least 70%, 80% proficiency of what I'm looking for, and I give you the grace to learn the next 20% over the next 6 months to a year. When we create things, whether it's a website or a marketing campaign or whatever, if we can get 80%, right? If it's some content, we put that out, and then we worry about, iterating and fine tuning that other 20% as we go.
Hmm.
We didn't grow to where we are now by being perfect. We grew by getting it published, right?
Mm.
Launch the idea and then refine it later, because done is better than perfect every day, because done creates data.
Hmm.
That data gives you feedback. That
Hmm.
feedback gives you momentum, right?
Hmm.
Being perfect or focusing on perfect, that creates pressure, right? Negative pressure, downward pressure that keeps you from elevating. Um, So yeah, I send things out. People will say, "Oh man, you spelled this word wrong in the email." Like, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate that." "Oh man, this picture on the website didn't load." "Oh, I appreciate that, man." You know, but
Hmm.
you can't critique what you can't see.
Hmm.
You never put it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
for you to
Yeah.
say I did wrong,
Right.
right? So my
Right.
goal is just to get better at iterating, and every iteration we get better, we make less mistakes.
Hmm. And I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, I'm gonna spin this back on myself. I don't mind being the guinea pig example. And you dive in and say, hey, whatever you want to say about what I'm sharing. But
Hmm.
this podcast, my podcast, is now into has now entered year number 8. There are those who have massive numbers. I know they have them because I follow some of these people. And some, but my process has been similar to what you said, you just described. I had no idea what I was doing. I,
Hmm.
I was very extremely uncomfortable doing audio when I used Anchor when it was a popular, and that's owned by Spotify. I was very uncomfortable. So I was like, I can write a blog. No one can sit there and judge my voice because I'm writing a blog. Then YouTube came along.
Hmm.
So I've been so the do it, put it out there, and I agree with that concept, but I also know that chosen to err on the side of being safe. Now, with you and I coming together this week, I I don't know how many emails I sent out to you with the wrong email addresses. They came back because I was trying to copy and paste and type. But
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I'm gonna keep on doing this until I connect with this gentleman. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
on doing it until I get it right. Because what I was seeing was a story that had to be told.
Mm.
And I can't get the story told if I don't connect with you
Yeah.
um, and hear your voice. And I can't see how to better check my typing, my copying and pasting if I don't keep working at it.
Yeah.
And I was originally using Podbean. Shout out to Podbean for the years I paid them all that unnecessary money for their service. Because I had this thing when Spotify purchased that, the former Anchor FM. And I'm like,
Mhm.
nah, I can't do that. But lo and behold, I found myself right back there. And I kept going again and again, and they kept saying, you need to do this. And I'm like, I'm not a techie. I can't get this to work. I can't afford to pay someone like you to make this thing work for me. So I gotta keep working at it so last thing, so like I said, I lost my regular paying gig.
Mhm.
I log into Spotify for creators, and in less than an hour, I did something. I don't know how I did it, but everything migrated over.
Mhm.
And as I said to you off camera, and I just posted it on Facebook to, to celebrate it with others, in less than 7 days, um, migrating back over that thing which I thought was holding me back. The audience, the numbers are flowing in. And
Mm.
I've had people tell me it's about the humanity, it's about caring about people, it's about, yes, it is all about that. But if you don't know who your audience is, you can't maximize your reach, in my opinion. I might be wrong. Uh, and like with you, the numbers and people. And that's why I said, tell your story. I'm throwing mine in the mix a little bit. I'm not saying this in no judgmental context for whoever may be listening. I've had conversations with about the numbers. I do argue over that a lot
Mhm.
off camera with people because I want when I log in, I want to see demographics over here. How do I tweak that over there? This is a one person show right now. I don't have a
Mhm.
team of people. I've got to know how to work it.
Yeah.
But I also want to be able to tell the human side of the story and have people come on tell their human side. Uh, I was about to jump on something else before we finally connected to fill that void. But I said,
Mhm.
nope, I'm not. Because once you get on the show, I know what this episode will tie in with that replay.
Indeed. Indeed.
Because that gentleman, unlike you, he disappeared for 10 years to find himself,
Mm.
willingly disappeared. He was on the floor of one of the Twin Towers when they were attacked, and he
Oh, wow.
survived.
Wow.
He joined the military, like
Mm.
many did as a naturalized American. And after doing his time in his service, he went on a journey of self-discovery and founded a nonprofit in Turkey. I bring him up to say is that I'm going to repost his content after this because he, in my mind, is an example of both things you said, talked about so far. Turning adversity to advantage, embracing imperfection. And yeah, I talk about myself some, but this is
Mhm.
not really about me because you, in a fuller sense, because you also talked about adapting or dying and taking that risk so you win the day in your bio. Let's go there.
Yeah. It's it's kind of so when I was in high school, I used to be in a program called the Sea Cadets. It's
Hmm.
a military program very similar to ROTC that's run by the Navy. So I was on
Yeah, I was a similar thing in a different way, but it wasn't called Sea Cadets. But that's
okay.
the story I'm not going to right now.
Yeah. So I was on trajectory to go into the military, and
Hmm.
that's kind of a so mine is an adaptation of something because when we were in that program, I was in that program for 3 to 4 years,
Hmm.
and we were trained by Marines, and
Mm.
um, you know, the military has some terms about adapting and overcoming
Hmm.
and all things, especially Marines.
Hmm.
Um, and I it's always stuck with me, right? You either are going to adapt or die, right? That's the rule of reinvention. Every era of my life has taught me one brutal truth, and that is that you either adapt or die.
Mm.
I don't just mean physically. You can have money in the
Mhm.
bank and still be dying in your mind. You can have
Mhm.
followers online and still be fading inside,
Mhm.
because what kills entrepreneurs usually isn't failure, it's familiarity, right? You staying stuck in a system that used to work long after it actually stopped serving you, you know. And I
How do
think a
you
lot,
identify when it no longer serves you though?
if it's not producing the results that are helping you grow, right?
Mhm.
There is no such thing as stagnation as a person. You are either growing
Mhm.
or you are dying, right? You're
Mhm.
either expanding or you're contracting. And if your stated goals, right, in various parts of your life, whether it's faith, family, finances, fitness, if you don't see that the thing that you're doing, the systems that you are using, the mantra or mindset that you've subscribed to, the dogma that you subscribe to, if it's not helping you expand, if it's not helping you grow, if it's not helping you in your trajectory towards your goals, well, then it's no longer serving you, right?
Okay.
And I've lived it. When I was homeless, I went from homeless to very high performance, but the climb only happened because I was willing to evolve, right? Every setback that I experienced, whether it was, filing for bankruptcy, whether it was losing businesses, whether it was losing business partners, um, every one of those setbacks forced me to shift, right? It forced me to reinvent myself, and go from survival to systems,
Mhm.
from a straight hustle to figuring out how to have harmony, right? From chaos to clarity, figuring out how to build all of these things into my life, forcing myself out of this mindset of lack,
Mhm.
and seeing abundance all around me, even when my current circumstance doesn't prove that there's abundance.
Mhm.
That the mind that the that mindset is what applies to every person, but specifically when it comes to business, every founder, every creator, or every leader right now. The world is moving faster than ever.
Mhm.
uh, Technology is changing at breakneck speeds, and audiences are changing. So if your thinking doesn't change, your success becomes your coffin, right? There are many businesses that we know
You get
of that
so many
were,
nuggets in this here, my man. Your success becomes your coffin. Wow.
I mean, there's
Interesting.
there's tons of businesses, right? With these massive
Yeah.
businesses like Blockbuster, top of the world. Who could topple Blockbuster? And a
Mm-hmm.
little company that sends DVDs in the mail, sniper shot straight to the head, they're gone. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
don't even know what Blockbuster is now, but they know everything about Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you remember Borders Books
Yeah.
back
Border books. Yeah. Yeah. I do.
evaporated,
Books
like
of
it
me
never.
and barely surviving.
Right. But a little company came along called Amazon and took them out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Their success became their coffin because they didn't have the ability to adapt. So they died.
Actually, I worked at a company that here in the southeast now used to be known as Farm Fresh, based out of Virginia, Southside Virginia.
Mhm.
Uh, I worked at the one in Elizabeth City, uh, and it had the DVD department, it had the clothing department, the grocery department, it had all that stuff that Walmart has. But Walmart came along and Farm Fresh went the way of the wind.
Mhm.
So did Kmart, because they didn't adapt.
Yeah. I mean, that's adaptation is evolution on
Hmm.
purpose. It's saying, I refuse to let yesterday's wins become tomorrow's weight. So if you're listening to this, remember, comfort is a slow killer. Curiosity is what keeps you alive. Adapt or
Mm,
die, because the goal isn't to survive the season, it's to scale who you are inside to be able to turn your passions into profits.
wow, wow. Now I'm getting ready to bring up something. Now, Uh, excuse me. I've been dealing with this. Well, my wife's actually been this to be over with. All said and done, I should turn the heat up in my office. I'm sitting here, throat and mouth all dry, but that's my fault. Yeah, I'm genuine, but you see what you
Hey,
get.
man, I keep whole thing of water.
hmm But one of my greatest challenges, this is for those who are will listen to this or watch it on YouTube, regardless of where they're at in life, business wise, is being an effective self-marketer or looking for the right marketing agency to help them to go where they need to go in this ever-changing digital age. The
Mhm.
word here I would like you to focus on, what is involved in effective, whether you're looking, whether you're doing it, or whether you're paying someone else to do it.
Effective marketing.
Yeah, man. Keyword being effective, being successful at it, or whatever, how you want to define it. Yeah.
Um, I would probably say the biggest thing is two things. One, knowing your audience, right? Being
Mm-hmm.
deliberate about who you want to be in your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times when we create things, we don't we don't take the end user in mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have an idea. We're good at something. We like a color. We like birds or dragons or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and that's our logo. But we don't take enough time to stop and think, what is the person that is actually going to consume this at the end of the day? What is it that they want? What is it that they like? What is it that they need to hear? What is it that will add value to them? And when you
Mm-hmm.
put yourself in that mind state, it shifts what you create, what you produce, the colors you use, the verbiage you use. Um, and that then becomes a component of your brand, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
define your brand as what people say about you behind your back, right? What do they
Mm-hmm.
say about you when you're not in the room? When they're
Mm-hmm.
introducing you to someone, you or your company to someone, what is it that springs to mind? What is your claim to fame in their eyes? So that's the first thing, who are you talking to and what do you want to be known for? Um, but effective marketing isn't about shouting the loudest, it's about being remembered the longest. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the most people confuse marketing with movement. They post, they push, they promote, but none of it actually connects, right? So for me, effective marketing is when message meets meaning, when your audience doesn't just understand what you do, they feel why you do it. It's not about, fancy logos and funnels or the perfect post or content. It's really about clarity, it's about consistency, and it's about credibility, right? Clarity makes you easy to understand. Consistency makes you impossible to be forgotten. And then your credibility or that branding makes you the obvious choice over your competitors, right? That's the formula.
Okay. Um, yeah, I said it before, and I'll continue to say it throughout this, and I do it with other shows as well. I put the fingers back at me when someone brings up points like that. It hits me home.
Hmm.
Um, I had various names for this, my brand as I started out. We go through those evolutions, but the consistent thing I had going for me is something I'm about to do again on a level with a level of understanding that I didn't have the first time. So locally, I started hanging out at open mics, but unbeknownst to people I'm hanging out with, I was hanging out at open mics, studying how to do open mics,
Hmm.
how to monetize it, how to get people in, how to take my writing ability, speaking ability, which I've been gifted with naturally, I believe, and transform it. I'm saying all this to say is that during that process of years and the articles that was written about me and everything, even when we returned back to this area, I just recently moved back to the Guilford County area, a part of North Carolina, Greensboro area, my wife and I. And I was out somewhere, and someone's like, "Hey, poet, you back in town?" I'm like, "I don't do open mics no more. I ain't done open mics in over 7 years." But they associated me with that because I had volunteered with the library system as their host for over five. And it led
Mhm.
to some great things back then. I'm bringing it up in line with what you're talking about. People get to know. I lived out all you said to the point that before a friend of mine and I left the circle that we had, and before I knew my wife, I'm going back in past tense. He used to call me various names. He was like, we, I, he called me, he gave me various titles, not names, excuse me, because I would not only use the meetup.com system to create an event, to manage a group, I would host it. I would do writer workshops through the library. They took me without a college degree and trusted me to do writer workshops. So it's not
Mhm.
always about degrees either.
Yeah.
But all said and done, he gave me different titles. Uh, and when he would see me, and Tyson, wherever you're at today, I love you, man, still in my heart. Because he was a younger guy that came in my life. And like, uh, basically created the brand that I've been living on for the last 3 or 4 years.
Mhm.
Alfred Harold more than a poet.
Mhm.
Because it came out of what he said. I did so many things, so I'm not just a poet. I'm this, I'm that, I'm a third. And as people see it on the screen, more than a poet. Uh, and I've done consistently with it, just like the podcast name. I was about to walk away from that, but I met someone like who said they were in the industry similar to what you're in on
Mhm.
a doing my ride share gig back in the day. They're like, don't change the name of it. It resonates with people.
Mhm.
So I love the two together. All to say is that I fully understand what you're saying. And if any of my listeners want more of this backstory, you can check out any of my episodes of my personal story. But as far as resources go, I brought Arias on also as a resource because I just try not to bring people on that's going to talk good game, but have websites, have companies, and all your links are there for people to reach out to you. Uh, I see it's a win-win. The money I'm not making now is the money I'm putting in the bank because you being on the show.
Mhm.
It's cash that hasn't been made yet, but someone may say, "Hey," or what, vice versa. And also today, you will be the second individual that will give the audio file to use it however you want to use it. Total
Awesome.
free space of this show. Put it in an email, send it out to Vivian. I think she's the one who reached out to me. I'll
Mhm.
send it out to her, and y'all can have that file to use that
Shout out to
other audio
Vivian.
file. Thank you. But I didn't know she was. I'm like, I'm reaching out to Arias. I'm getting Vivian. That's cool. It worked out. Uh,
Yeah.
to say that I I appreciate what you said, my man. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to overtake it, overtalk it. I appreciate what you said. Um, I am going to back up a little bit and tie in what you talked about the military part. Okay, back in those who want deeper details of that, go back catch episode one of my very first podcast. So yeah, go all the way back. It's actually linked in my show from last night. Um, linked to my show I did last night. Uh, small town, 3 stoplights at the time. Got 4 stoplights in it now. The Navy called it the late enlistment program back then. My high school wasn't large enough to have like a naval reservist or a TC program. That
Mhm.
was the only school close nearby that had something large enough for that was about an hour and a half drive away from my hometown. So when the recruit came, as they do, through the schools back in the old days, with my mom's permission, I got signed up into the program.
Mhm.
And that was the first time I learned my gift of gab because he would literally come and sign me out of school and take me from county to county trying to recruit other kids to go into the Navy's delayed enlistment program.
Mhm.
And being that I talked about it more a lot in my book, but bringing it up to say that my pathway was set. I thought military, all of this, all of that. Didn't go that way. Uh, the gift, the gab, the will to speak, unbeknownst to me, I was being taught how to reach people, how to tell stories. And now we're in an age where individuals such as yourself have built an entire company around that, who's impacting people and getting paid for it, which I admire. Uh, to simply say that I have a new perspective, and I want my audience to also chime into this along with me, those who listen to it or watch it. I have a totally new perspective on done is better than perfect because of what you shared today. Uh, yeah, I've thrown I talked about my story, or even intertwined it with what you said.
Hmm.
But with those of us, and there's a lot more out here than want to admit it, we have that perfectionistic mentality that everything has to be complete. And then we attach it to, and I'm not taking a jump on nobody religion, because I'm a firm faith believer in God. But I think we attach it to, and I'm speaking we, myself, including my statement, that God has given me a vision, and this is how it's supposed to be, and it's going to unfold this way and that way. And it ends up being a professionalistic outlook on something when he is simply saying to us, go do something.
Hmm.
Do something. I get the rest of it. You go do something.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it's really,
that's what I'm taking away from what you said. Go do something.
yes. Actually, I have a other software that we built called Launch Ignition AI, and it's a coaching program for entrepreneurs. And every Monday, 6 p.m., I host a class where I teach
Mhm.
about the mind state of an entrepreneur and practical things that they
Well,
can implement in
quickly,
their.
how much that class cost?
It used to call. I mean, actually, our first.
You don't have to say it, my brother,
No,
but
no, our
I'm
first
curious.
person, I think, paid 26 grand for that
Wow.
course. That was our very first student. Now we've been able to bring that down to 10% of that. So,
Wow.
but I host this class every Monday. It's called Get Shit Done Weekly, right?
Wow.
It's profane on purpose,
Hmm.
uh, because a lot of times we get excited about talking about our dreams, not
Mm.
as opposed to doing the thing. And you
Hmm.
said that you are um, you've taken this, done is better than perfect. This thing you've been given a dream, you've been given a message, you've been given a path. And many times we think that we have it all figured out. We know every step it's going to take. And in my experience, in both just in my personal life and in business, it very, very rarely goes according to plan. You
Hmm.
know, the path is very rarely straight and flat. It is usually jagged and rocky and
Hmm.
uphill, and there's lots of twists and turns and
Hmm.
barriers that are placed in your path. But I think that many times when we get an idea for something, we believe that the path is supposed to be easy, not realizing that the the complexity and the difficulty of the terrain is what builds the muscle to be able to survive it,
Hmm.
right? If you are doing something that's worthwhile, it's usually adding value to someone's life. And
Hmm.
your ability to not only deliver that value, but do so consistently over time requires that level of muscle to be able to withstand whatever's thrown at you.
Hmm.
And if you don't go through that, well, then you don't have the ability truly to tell anybody your testimony, right?
Hmm.
You don't know how to relate to someone's current situation and issue unless you've gone down that path and you've experienced a little bit of turbulence and issues yourself, right? Because people don't want to know what you know until they know that you care. And the easiest way for them to know that you care is to know where you come from, right?
Hmm.
Um, so when you realize that the struggle, when you realize that the path of resistance, not least resistance, of resistance is what builds you into who you need to become to achieve the thing that you say you want. You stop fighting the resistance and you lean into it. You realize it's
Mm,
just the process of developing muscle.
mm. That's the problem. That's it's not like that. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's definitely something a word for today. And even like I said with this show on a Friday let me know that I had to do what you said because I had literally set my calendar up not to do any Friday episodes based around my driving and working schedule, which gets snatched away from me.
Hmm.
So I saw things coming into alignment. I saw an opportunity. As one podcast, one guest I had on, and now I actually have my first office. This is the first time this is my first time since I started doing this. I have a whole entire office that I'm like, it's gonna pay me money one day in a real way, but it's an
Yeah.
office because I talk about her often, and I got it. I'm doing better at showing her the same love off camera and outside of business events that I show her on camera and events. That's my wife, uh, serial entrepreneur, author, doing her thing her way, and somehow we're gonna come together and work this thing out. We both alpha personalities, but anyways, uh, I have an office because, in part, largely because of her vision. I talked about having a space I never had before.
Hmm.
I talked to, like I can go in and do my set it up where I want to, desk, whatever. And she was like, when we look for a house, look for one where we can have 2 rooms for 2 offices. I'm like, but you already work from home. Like, it sounds good. I've been
Hmm.
propping my stuff up, wherever. So now I have my own space.
Yeah.
Um, and different guests have highlighted my background because at first I was doing a lot of green screen stuff.
Hmm.
I'm a comic book nerd because the Batman story ties with my personal survival.
Hmm.
Uh, I could go deeply into that. I'd rather encourage people to go listen to my show, get me more ratings there, understand that part. Let me tell you the story on your show, your
Yeah.
time. However, though, my favorite heroes, which one podcaster who was analyst up here, another rare person I talked to, he sort of dissected my mentality and all of that. I'm gonna bring him back next year, another brother. But he was like, so I can tell a lot about you by your Batman on the wall, your Wolverine and Deadpool on the wall.
Deadpool. Hmm.
He's like, it's like you've been through some things
Yeah.
because you associate yourself with their survival skills,
Hmm.
even though they're fictional. So that be turn around and deal that simply to say that there's so many nuggets that you handed out. I, I don't know my usage of AI is like this. When this is all over, I will use StreamYard's AI to create the clips. That's my deep as I go right
Hmm.
now. However, I probably take at least 50% of the reels that create for me from the nuggets that you just given us today. Bullet points. I'm not gonna dive back to repeat a lot of it. I'm gonna wrap this up though, simply because number one, it's an oddball time for my audience, but they will catch it on replay. And I had to have you here because of all of this. I asked you how much your program costs because I'm like, I saw on your website you have a book, so I'm definitely gonna buy the book.
Sit right there.
I'm gonna buy the book. Yeah, I'm gonna buy the book. I'm gonna buy the book. I've got like I made this money I made in Houston at the book festival. I turned around and bought other authors' books.
Mm.
So I made zero profit.
Yeah.
But the impact of it, but also these same individuals will be up here in the seat where you're at least half of them next year. Um, and I'm laughing about it because this is our time. I would say this is our time.
Hmm.
This is the creative time. Some are wrapped up in things are so bad politically, and the black church is going this way, and this religion is doing that way. But I believe in what one of my favorite poets said. This is the best of times and the worst of times. This is really the best of times in so many ways. And you coming up here just reaffirmed for me that what happened and my wife said it had to happen. It's it's another affirmation based on her affirmation. I had to lose my part-time gig. It had to go away so that we can have this conversation.
Hmm.
It had to go away so that I can get out here this afternoon and sell some books downtown Greensboro this evening.
Yeah.
Being that they have what they call First Fridays at one of the cultural arts centers. I want to be out there in the streets, set up. Uh,
Yeah.
I already got my book in one local bookstore this week alone.
It's awesome.
Paying attention to what she said. Thank you, but however, she's already went behind the scenes and researched it. But she's discovered 17 local bookstores in our area for me to
Mm.
reach out to.
Yeah.
But that's what goes back to like that partnership part, I
Mm.
guess, which I don't like using that word a lot. But it is what it is. I'm saying all that. It's like you say, the reinvent and move. I made certain moves because of her. I will give
Mm.
her credit, then I can give her credit off camera. And
Yeah.
there's certain things that she needs from me that I can talk about that's personal, but we're gonna get there on them. And business wise,
Yeah.
uh, I, I I didn't dive into your personal journey on that aspect, and I'm not going to. This is not about relationships, but business relationships that seem to have done well. You get a team of people. I admire you having a team. Uh, we're gonna jump off of this, like I said, the next man. I even started. I listened to one. That's one place I subscribe to. Gave some Zen philosophy about where you place your jewelry in your arm. So I've been doing that differently, and
Mhm.
I got good energy, good results from that. Um,
Indeed.
but also, but when it comes back to you being up here today, sir, you were a breath of fresh air on a Friday. You were what my audience needs to hear, especially those in the 50 to 55 age demographic, where some of us have retired or about to retire, and there's so many industries that can use our wisdom and hire us for different things. And you have just given all a lot of bullet points for people who can make some shifts in their lives and do that. That's what they want to do. Or even reach out to you. Uh, that's a thing. Um, who knows what's going to look like next year? But excuse me. But I do know that at some stage in the game, I'm gonna need digital marketing. Uh, I'm gonna need that as things expand. Uh, with that, especially with getting to the point of possibly doing a book festival of our own at some point in this year or two.
All right, it would be
Uh,
awesome, man. Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, I've already met. I've got one contact from Houston who she arrived with her author and she previewed the scene a day or two in advance, and
Hmm.
and we had a great conversation behind that. So there's areas, uh, but that's about all I got to say, my brother. I appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your busy life to do what you're doing to get on my podcast today. Um, I'm gonna let you close it out. Then I'm taking you on camera, and I prefer to do my goodbyes and my what I call my mushy moment off camera.
Awesome. Awesome.
but like closing thoughts, and then I'm gonna take you off camera. Just give me about a minute or two, and I'll get right back with you.
Yeah. Yeah. If I can leave your listeners with one thing, it's this. Don't let perfection become procrastination. Done builds confidence. Confidence builds clarity. And clarity builds consistency. And that consistency is where true success lives in any part of your life, whether it's professional, whether it's personal, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, or it's even in your fitness. You don't need the perfect conditions to move forward. You just need enough courage to start. And hopefully, whatever it is that's on your heart to move towards, hopefully today you have the courage to start and move towards it.
Thank you, sir. I'll speak to you in another minute or so. This is another episode of Life is About More Than Living. You will see my spot is self-sponsored by means of my book, Split Souls Transition.